We're gonna do the after thing first. She had a much better face waiting for people to show up on time than I do. She's up here, oh, I want to give you a hug 10 minutes later. But,
yeah, nice smile too.
yes, I got some real good ones up there for that. Tried to get some younger ones. I didn't plan this out as well as I probably could have. It was kind of a struggle. But yeah, we found some one couple of us did. And we went on vacation. If you did the daily message, you saw we went down to Georgia and back, and that was super. She really had a good time. So it was timed, I guess, pretty well. That was at my school. She wrote that book about you, Cheryl back there, and she actually came to school and read it to the kids in the school as an author visit. She was so excited about that. That's the Badlands about 3 months ago.
Wow.
I need to lose some weight. Don't look at mine. So. It's kind of hard. She's shorter, so you kind of turtleneck to do that. Got a couple spots up here. Oh, Eugene, you want? All right. I'm going to read what I wrote as a eulogy type thing, I guess we call it. And then we're going to invite anybody else up that wants to say anything. And then there's the wife made tons of taco stuff, so if you're hungry, she lots of food downstairs. And we'll eat. She said I have to waste 10 minutes between finishing when you guys go down. So. All right. Is that, usually
Really, it's only 5 after. That's not too bad.
No, that's not. I'm just nervous. I saw her.
Up front, eh?
Yeah. Full house.
Read up.
Awesome.
There's others coming, but don't wait for them.
Okay. Well, they can sit there with me. All right, we're here to celebrate the life of Cheryl Newsome. It's my mom. All right, I'm going to read it because I'm going to try to get through just reading it. All right? That's okay? Everybody good? All right, I hope so. That's how it's going to happen. All right, I'd like to begin by thanking everyone for coming to this celebration of life. As you know, Cheryl Newsome, my mother, died this summer due to complications from pneumonia. This was very unexpected and took us all by surprise, especially since we had just gotten back from a road trip to Georgia 3 weeks earlier. It was a great trip that included a lot of fun and much-needed visits to family and friends. She always loved a good adventure. That's what she called it, an adventure. Mom was born in Cambridge, Ohio, to Wesley and Barbara Dawson, and she was the second oldest of 5 children. Her siblings were Linda, Jim, Jeff, and Beth. Her family spent time together going on many trips, some of which included Alaska, which is why we ended up here. Her family eventually moved to Florida in the Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte area. Here she worked towards her goal of going to college and was able to start a family. I know it was around 1972 that she moved there, so that's not remember anymore. She was able to complete her accounting degree, which allowed her to start a 30-year career with the IRS. I know that doesn't sound good to some of you, but she really loved that job and was really, really good at it. While she consistently climbed the ranks of the IRS, she was able to raise 2 children, mostly on her own. Her career required a lot of movement, which involved living in 3 different cities in Florida. We lived outside Washington, D.C., Buffalo, New York, and then she eventually came here to Anchorage. And then she came out here and retired. Sorry, I messed up, so I didn't throw it off. She finished her career working from home here, retiring outside of Willow, Alaska. Through her perseverance and strong work ethic, she was able to climb to an impressive height in a male-dominated profession. Being a woman was not a factor in her success, and it never limited her from achieving her goals, even back when equality wasn't the law. Okay? Everybody's like, oh man, women don't have any rights. And I'm like, I watched a woman do awesome things during those times when they say they couldn't. Okay, so it's possible. She was an inspiration to me and many others. I am proud to say that she was my mom. Many, after retirement, take the time to relax and kind of putter around. Not Cheryl Newsome. She felt called by God to build a church, and that is what she did. In the very cabin she called home, She converted her living room into what she called a sanctuary and planted Christ in her community. She was so excited and spent much of her time and energy growing and building this church. She did everything she could to follow God's calling for her, including getting a master's degree in theology, many hours a week sending daily messages. And that took her a long time, by the way. In case anyone wants to know, I watched her during this trip. It took hours a day, just so you know. Because she would send one individually to everybody. Producing YouTube videos and hosting the Neighborhood Watch. Her desire for neighborhood improvement included a significant stint on the local fire board, as you are aware. She was always enthusiastic when mentioning all that she was attempting to make the neighborhood a better place, especially that turn lane. She really enjoyed the turn lane. I don't know if, do we have that in here?
We love the turn lane.
Right? I do too, and I only come from it. One of the coolest things about my mother was her passion for learning. She was never afraid to try new hobbies and was always excited to share what she learned. She would always pull you out to see her garden and show you the progress of her plants. She often would share a new hobby that she started, whether it be writing books, grandkids, working on resin, stained glass, quilting, sewing, woodworking, creating new ice cream recipes, and/or mastering chocolate making. She was an amazing person. Many of our adventures were based on photography, which had been a primary hobby throughout her life. She loved taking pictures of animals. This led her to follow and photograph the Iditarod for several years, and go to Brooks Camp a few times to photograph and walk with the bears. I went once, that was enough. She went a couple of times. We drove all the way up to Dead Horse, and we crossed Canada a few times, always looking for bears. It was one of those things, is that a bear? I'm like, no. If you have to ask, it probably not. We had a discussion several times. It was kind of cool. These adventures often led to unexpected happenings, such as a plane crash, she survived, and a National Guard chopper being called. I was there on that one, that was interesting. Even still, these events never stopped her from planning the next trip. She was nearly fearless. My mother, Cheryl Newsome, pastor, grandmother, great-grandmother, sister, aunt, and friend to others, was a wonderful person who strove every day to do what God planned for her. She accomplished many things and tried her best every day to treat others with love and kindness. Her passing has left a giant hole in many of our hearts. I can only hope to achieve half of what she's done in her life. There is no doubt in my mind that when God called her home, He welcomed her with open arms and said, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." And that's what I have.
Amen. Beautiful.
Anybody else have anything they'd like to say? Again, be free to come up. We have time, plenty of time. No, I'll sit.
I'm going to read this as well. I'm not a good public speaker. It's great to see everybody here to honor her. These are just a few of the things that I remember about Cheryl. There's a whole lot more. Carrie addressed a lot of them. But these are the ones that were remarkable. I first met Cheryl on Island of Klein. I live across the lake here. I first met Cheryl around 2007 after she retired from her job in Anchorage and relocated to her cabin here on Upper Caswell Lake. That was almost 2 decades ago. Our friendship truly began when Cheryl reached out to me by phone. She greeted me warmly, and our conversation flowed easily, lasting quite a while. During that call, Cheryl graciously invited Larry and myself to attend the Sunday worship service she hosted here at her cabin. This thoughtful invitation marked the start of our relationship and laid the foundation of our friendship. As Cheryl and I spent more time together, we discovered that we had much in common, especially our backgrounds. Both of us were raised on farms, which instilled in us deep appreciation for the land and a strong work ethic. Our shared upbringing created a special connection, particularly through the relationship we had with our fathers. We often reminisced about working outdoors alongside our dads, and found that we both preferred doing chores in the fresh air rather than doing housework. This mutual fondness for outdoor work not only highlighted our similar roots, but it also further strengthened our growing friendship. Each spring, Cheryl made a meaningful journey back to her family's farm in Ohio, spending several weeks reconnecting with her parents and relatives. These visits were a cherished tradition, giving Cheryl the chance to help her father plant his garden and make lasting memories together. She would return from Ohio with stories and photographs capturing special moments with her father, whom she deeply loved and respected. After coming home, Cheryl eagerly began preparing her own garden beds for the season ahead. She carefully timed her trip so she could return in time to start planting. She focused on planting her starts, her seeds, the potatoes that would thrive in this local climate. She was diligent in researching garden catalogs, searching for varieties that suited her environment, and even ordered special beneficial insects like ladybugs to inhabit her greenhouse and control pests such as aphids. Cheryl especially enjoyed growing tiger lilies, dahlias, roses, and orchids, which filled her property with vibrant color and lovely fragrances. Her brother Jeff contributed by growing gourds, which Cheryl hollowed out and hung in the back of her cabin for swallows to nest in. These nests became favorite subjects for Cheryl's close-up photography, and many of her beautiful images now serve as backgrounds for the verse banners in the sanctuary. With a keen eye for detail, she deeply appreciated the beauty of the nature surrounding her cabin. She often spent quiet mornings observing the shifting seasons, capturing the vivid colors and intricate textures of her flowers and wildlife through the camera lens. She found great joy in moments and loved sharing her photos and stories with friends and neighbors, fostering a sense of community and connection. One photo that stood out to me is of a small dome tent glowing with a lantern inside under a dramatic aurora display. It was fabulous.
Yeah.
Besides organizing church services, she was passionate about the church serving a much wider role in the community. Together we explored various ways to help, and Cheryl ultimately chose to launch the Neighborhood Watch program. She established a telephone messaging tree to keep everyone informed and connected. She moved quickly to get the program off the ground, organizing meetings and inviting guest speakers to educate residents about the Neighborhood Watch and practical safety tips. Signs were placed throughout the area to encourage awareness and participation. To promote ongoing collaboration and neighborly spirit, Cheryl coordinated an annual Neighborhood Watch meeting and barbecue each May. She paired it with a Saturday road cleanup day. This allowed resident members to work together and discuss issues affecting the community. Cheryl also spearheaded a valuable church-sponsored project, the creation of emergency property locator signs for local residents. The church provided funds for supplies by purchasing the metal and the reflective materials for the signs. Making the signs was a team effort. 2 volunteers handled the process of cutting and welding the metal, painting and cutting the numbers, and carefully assembling each sign. Residents could now purchase and display a clear locator sign at the driveway, helping emergency responders find addresses quickly in urgent situations. When she moved here, the community was expanding, but lacked a volunteer fire department. Fire protection was only available if the Forest Service was dispatched for potential wildfires. When the Caswell Lakes Fire Service area was established, Cheryl became the chairperson of the three-person board of directors, serving in that role until her passing. She was highly skilled at analyzing the department's budget needs and offering sound advice. With her advocacy, the fire service area grew from a basic warm storage building to the impressive firehouse we now have on Deepwoods Way. Cheryl's generosity shone through her response to those in need. The Sockeye wildfire destroyed the home of a dog mushing family who attended services here. She generously gave them her motorhome so they would not be without shelter for the winter. The Iditarod race was very dear to her. She kept track of her favorite mushers throughout the race and would phone her dad with daily updates. Following the McKinley wildfire, Cheryl served on the finance committee of the rebuild project, providing oversight of the shared rebuild funds for those qualifying folks who lost their homes. In recent times, the mobile food bank needed a local site. Cheryl promptly arranged for it to use the church parking lot on a monthly basis. Cheryl's most treasured accomplishment was, in her words, to plant a church. Her vision came to life in 2012, with planning and construction starting that year. Over the next several years, the building gradually took shape, becoming ready for occupancy by 2018. This project was a true community effort, supported by friends and neighbors, notably 2 dedicated volunteer teams from Mountain View Methodist Church in Boulder, Colorado gave weeks of their time and skills to help build the church. Cheryl always stressed that everyone has a unique talent and encouraged others to use those gifts to bless the community and honor God, recognizing the dedication and abilities of those involved. Cheryl was a devoted disciple of Jesus Christ and wanted every person to have a personal relationship with him. She had a remarkable talent for finding the perfect Bible passages and stories to reinforce her message. I can honestly say she touched my heart during most Sunday services. She truly did. One memorable day while Larry and I were working at the church basement, we were startled by the sound of a barking dog. Dearest was furiously barking outside. Curious and concerned, we opened the door and witnessed the dramatic scene. A dog was relentlessly harassing and chasing what appeared to be a year-old moose through the deep snow. Despite our efforts, along with Cheryl's shouts from her cabin and the owners calling from the road, nothing seemed to deter the dog or stop the chase. The moose was clearly becoming exhausted, and the situation was growing more serious by the minute. In that moment, Cheryl took decisive action. Channeling her inner Annie Oakley, she quickly retrieved her shotgun, loaded the shell, and stepped out on the front porch. She fired a shot into the air to get the dog's attention. To ensure the message was clear, Cheryl reloaded and fired a second. The loud noise finally startled the dog, effectively ending the chase and saving the moose from further distress. Once the owners collected the dog and the commotion settled, the tension gave way to laughter among all of us who had witnessed the event. It was a classic example of Cheryl's ability to respond swiftly and effectively in unexpected situations, all with a touch of humor and practicality. Cheryl often shared a meaningful reminder with those around her. Only God knows when our earthly assignment is finished, to live each day to its fullest. Her words encouraged everyone to embrace life wholeheartedly and to make the most of every minute, recognizing that our time is precious and uncertain. Cheryl's absence is deeply felt by all who knew her. She has left behind a remarkable legacy that continues to inspire and remind us to live with purpose, gratitude, and joy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else?
Do I have to lean?
No, just.
I'm shorter. So I'm Garrett Davidson. I grew up in Caswell area. It's funny, before the church came along, this property was a lot of different things. Youth camp, and I believe it was even a gay pride camp at one time. And then when Cheryl came in, and there was discussion of a church being formed by a veteran IRS agent, my skeptical ways thought that was rather suspect. Over the years, she was so supportive of everybody in the community, to include my family, who sits back here. My father, who's passed, who actually helped build this church with many other people in this room, and some that are not. And then she was the hard driver for the fire department, where I work now. And it was so fun to have her at board meetings and see people scramble when she'd scrutinize the numbers. And over the years, I called her all the time about everything, mostly fire department related issues and things that were going on. And we began to have a great relationship, and towards these last few years, we talked more and more all the time. Probably my own wife doesn't even know as much as we talked. I'd stop by and visit with her. I'd talk to her on the phone for sometimes hours. I'd sit in the driveway at the house after a board meeting or something, and I'd speak to her on the phone for sometimes hours. And man, I just grew to love her. She taught me so much. She mostly, the biggest thing she taught me was that how people from different walks of life, mostly politics and religion, could form a bond and be close friends and family. It was difficult. When the little cabin over here caught on fire after the Caswell Lakes Fire Department was actually formed, and we had trucks and a station, we didn't have anybody available, and the Talkeetna Fire Department actually beat us to the little cabin fire, and that hurt so bad, and I vowed to that never happening again. And that's pretty much what built my dedication to the fire department that I still have today. It hurt. It hurt to not be there for her when she needed me. So I made it my mission to always be there for her after that, and till almost the bitter end, where I went with her to the hospital in the ambulance, despite how sick I get from being in the ambulance and motion sickness. I can't ride in an ambulance due to motion sickness, and that's why my EMS career plummeted, and I decided to be a firefighter instead. I love and will miss Cheryl for the rest of my life, and I'm sure you all feel the same way. I didn't write anything down, and I hope that I didn't ramble too much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I asked him to come up and read this, but he said no. He couldn't get through it, and I'm sorry. Maybe I'll ask Karen. I wrote this morning to include in the card. I wasn't intending to read it, but I started with whatever a beautiful picture of a cup with his footprints. And I thought that's so fitting for Cheryl. So, not only do I have a hard time emotionally reading this, but I have a hard time reading it and seeing it. I should have put it in bigger print if I could wasn't read this out loud. Carrie, would you mind reading this? Sorry,
What's the name?
that might help too. Oh, that's okay. I can, okay. That might help. I remember well the first visit. Yes, that would be great. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I remember well my first, there's actually some two lights here after. I remember well my first visit attendance to Christ Center Community, being warmly welcomed by Pastor Cheryl into the front cozy area of her log cat home, and then serving as chapel. After the lovely service, the hymns accompanied by her beautiful photos touched me to tears. I was invited with the rest of the small congregation into her small yet comfy kitchen for warm soup and fellowship. I was feeling a bit lost alone at our new home in Caswell Lakes. I so appreciate feeling Pastor Cheryl's warm embrace. When Matthew was visiting us in Caswell from Palmer, he enjoyed attending too. He has a glass cross she gifted him many years back, still hanging on his front room window in his apartment. His work schedule at J. Bear changed to include Sundays, so he was unable to be here on weekends. But he'd often ask, "How is Pastor Cheryl?" So I love and miss her. More recently, and over several years, I've appreciated her daily inspirations again, accompanied by her beautiful photos. Each morning, I'd hear the beep of a new text from Cheryl Newsome. So dedicated and faithful she was in composing and sharing these, giving us food for thought, challenging us as she uplifted us. I still have these on my phone. Sometimes I would respond, but not often enough. Early this summer, I loved how she shared her journey with her dear son, sharing with us spiritual insights she was gaining through the experience. I'm very grateful the two of them had this time together. I'll always be grateful how Pastor Cheryl touched the lives, souls, and hearts of so many, including me.
Yes, well, thank you, and I must say that those messages and the daily inspirations that she did, they're really clogging my phone. So sometimes I really have to get rid of some of them, but I so appreciate them. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say Cheryl was my friend, and I wish I had taken the time to get to know her. But I knew of her, she was a wonderful person, and I know that this community will suffer her loss. And God bless her, wherever she's at, we know where she's at peace. Thank you.
Anybody else? Almost? You like this other? No.
Hi. My name is Madison, and when I was little, she always called me her little lightning bug, and I always charged her battery when I gave her a hug. I said that. And Marshall and I used to call Carrie the big guy. Yeah.
It's our 10-minute warning to get to talk to her. Now I have to waste 10 minutes of your time.
Carrie, I'll get it.
Oh, good.
I'll help you waste time.
School administrator. Waste all kinds of time.
Hey, now wait a minute. I give that up 20 years ago. So.
What, wasting time or administrating?
Both. Thank you for being here. I can't read things like my wife writes down because it gets so emotional for me. I can do it a lot better extemporaneously and sit here and talk to you folks and look at you in the eye and know that this community is so much better than it was when I moved here 17 years ago. It had a really bad reputation. I was superintendent of schools in Nenana, and we looked for a place that we could get closer to our son and grandson and daughter-in-law down in Anchorage. So I was down here snowmobiling, and I found this particular area and had no idea what was going on, and we went and bought some property over on Caswell Lake, South Caswell Lake Circle, and proceeded to build a home there. Well, after I retired, I moved down here. Well, then people started telling me, my gosh, you moved to the Caswell Lakes area? Do you know what goes on in Caswell Lakes? My gosh, that place is a haven for sin and degradation and all these other things that are going on. Well, I didn't find that. I found a community that was very loving, very accepting of everybody. Cheryl was the key to that. She got us started with the fire department. Larry and I and Linda and several others were called to go down and sit it at the lodge and see about going on. Well, we had a trooper here at that time, and we got a volunteer fire department going, and I served on the board for 10 years and enjoyed everything. And of course, Cheryl was the chairman of that. And then when she said, well, I don't want to do it anymore, you got to be chairman. So I said, okay, I'll do that. And since I wasn't being in education anymore, I felt like I could give that part to the community. But we have a very, very good community here. We're one of the largest communities, subdivisions in the state, which a lot of people don't realize. We have a tremendous amount of opportunity to grow, and I think that's what we're going to do. It's really hard to get people together, and I know that Cheryl did a fabulous job of doing that, and our spring cleanup was a real motivation. We've done all kinds of things. I think one of those areas would be to get our cleanup going again and try to carry on what Cheryl started. And I think she would want that probably more than anything, not to let this drop. And I remember when we were all here trying to build this place and trying to help with the community. And everybody put in a little bit. Larry Klein was, of course, the foreman and the guide for that. And with his construction background and knowledge, we were able to put this house of faith together. And I think it'll stand here for a long, long time as a beacon of what Cheryl stood for. So I would just like to thank everybody for coming. I think the celebration of life is so much better than just going to a funeral and listening to a lot of words that really don't mean much, but when they do come from the people that are here, they mean so much, and you can carry that away. And I think this is one of those areas that has come to be different, but thank you, Gary, for affording us this opportunity to talk to everybody. And thank you all for coming. I love this community, and I know Cheryl did too, so thank you.
I'd like to speak up too from back here. I'm not much for stages. But anyway, we had moved to the highway in 2018 prior to the fire for some neighbors of ours that had moved into town. And anyway, actually, I found Cheryl when me and a neighbor was looking for the Baptist Missionary Church that did our plowing in the winter for years before at the highway. So we ended up finding this place and met a sister, new friend at the same time. And a lot of times I was the only one here on Sundays for quite a few times. So that that was kind of like having your own church and your own preacher. Looking for one that was close by. And then we got burned out during a fire a year after we had moved to the highway. And Cheryl was a good support, and my kitchen utensils she provided to use. Not that I'm big in the kitchen or anything, but I appreciated all her attributes and characteristics. You know, she's a formidable and personable and no nonsense person, and anyway, yeah, just knowing she's not around is a loss, and sorry for you guys' loss, and I appreciate knowing her family, and so she will be missed, but we know where she's at. Thank you.
Thank you.
I did one piece of music right here, and
Yeah,
excuse the technical.
good singer. Yep, that's the one.
Thought she finished out. So,
Yep.
anyway, thanks for coming. There's food downstairs. We'll get some upstairs for a couple if you need it. Careful downstairs, there's a little bit, nothing unfinished. Thank you again for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You are